This is Gerald Van. I think it's a very good idea to always provide a lot of examples that show you how the letter combinations are actually an organized form of orientating ourselves into space and recognize certain differences of qualities, and these qualities are described by the letters. And maybe it's about time again to show an example which is not immediately visible when you start by by analyzing and by understanding the letters already a little bit. It will not be immediately clear, and that makes it maybe a very good example to show that to you, because yeah, you shouldn't overthink things as well, because our mind is very quickly in choosing letters, and it chooses a certain balance, and this balance sometimes is enough to have the right associations and to associate it with a word where we are referring to. And you can go deeper into it once you understand the whole concept, also in geometrical form, in dimensions and all these things. You can even understand it even better. But it's mostly used quite superficial and very quickly, that we have some kind of references frame that they are in such a way suggestive that we can understand why we name certain objects or subjects with these letter combinations that are used for it. And I will choose now beef. And with B, I have repeated this again and again, what this B is. Also in my system, it is about a focus in space, of in general, an objective focus, mostly about physical objects, especially when you start from it. It will have a physical relation to it that you can sense there. It is in this case, it will be the beginning of a description, which seems to be about, or it could be about a certain consistency. At least that is what I could expect here, because beef is a certain material. So I expect it also to describe that material. Okay, let's find out it. So I have that b form. Everybody can imagine that, how you have the b, that kind of expression, easily sensed what this is. The E as a sound gives you a variety of choices. In it, a variety of choices which don't say like, okay, it's there exactly, but it will depend on the situation and so on. Often the E is used that it is a specific time and place, but by context only you can see where it is. Because it is related with the double E is about timing, about evolution, about changes. So this can also be that there is a variation occurring all the time. So you cannot immediately see, okay, there it is. It can be there or maybe there. It can vary a little bit. And by ending the word with f, it will disperse it indeed in various directions. So it will be, yeah, it can be everywhere, and everywhere in an irregular way almost. That's what F effect will have. F is about directions, but it's the directions of material, and it will go in all directions also, because the feedback will go also in all directions. So it's going to all directions, but the feedback is also coming back in all directions. So it is becoming confusing where it will be dominating, and that's what the F is associated with. And if you combine these things, beef, it will indeed seems to describe a certain varied consistency. The E shows you that it is related with a process that happens over time and can change a little bit over time as well. And we know, of course, that we will sense it. We can sense this kind of variety by the structure as well, not just by taste, but also by the structure. What I expected actually, that is that that it is about material, so it should have been written with e and a, but it doesn't. So it is not written as a material, as a consistent, as a varied material. So it is really about the experience in a time frame, in how it is timed, how it is changing and will vary a little bit over time as well, how it looks like, and it will never look like exactly the same every time when you encounter it. It looks in a chaotic way. It can vary a little bit. The beef, we all know how it looks like, and this form with a certain consistency at the borders, and this dispersedness inside can be sensed in there, and the A only gives it an association of changes of a time process or a timed association, that you use it at a certain time, or you will grow over a certain time. That kind of associations are more dominant than it is about a material with a steady form, as a matter of speaking. In fact, thinking that this word should be about a consistency, should be about how the form is alone, doesn't really also give it a very good foundation to understand it, because it's not an ah, which is here written into the beef. Beef is with double A. A is about processing. It's not just the object itself, so I was slightly distracted by my expectations. The A in double A is about processing, with a before and after. Sensing its structure is much more what it is, and behind also the whole process of yin and yangs in words, there's also always this learning process or experiencing process, where you have the push of what you think it should be, and then the pushback of what it is. And if I also have that focus upon it, I have my processing of E plus E, my processing, which says how, which senses the structure, and the structure gradually also changes a little bit in my experience, even in its dispersion on the surface and so on, and the variations that it has there. Despite all that, we have an experiences which also varies a little bit in the before and after. And that's why it's not just an object, because the object itself actually is not changing all the time. So that's of course not what it is, but there are some changes that you see. There's some variations there, variations in consistency, but on its own the object is consistent. It's our experience with the E which makes it a variation. So with every word is also always about how do we experience it, what do we need to experience it well, and it's not focusing upon the how does it look like. It is focusing upon which means how do we experience the changes in it, how do we experience that. And this balance, this kind of balance, is actually the thing that has been expressed in it. I didn't find it very easy to really recognize these things as well, because sometimes you also have expectations. What should this be? And then when you investigate the word, sometimes it is focusing upon something else, like you have to do something with, or you have to go towards, or you have to experience it first. These kind of things are also always suggestive in that word. Beef is something to experience over a certain period and a certain time. So I hope it was clear enough, and if I was good enough to discover it as well, because nothing, all words are obvious immediately, and sometimes you can also overlook something, or you expect too much, and it asks also some experience to leave that out, to leave the expectations out, and just follow what's there. And I hope I discovered enough for what's there. There's some website too, there's some Facebook page there, there's some books there, all the things that can give you a pre-experience before you can start to figure out what is obvious for your mind to focus upon is not obvious for your rationality to find out. Unfortunately, but you can learn that, and you can learn this by the scheme that I gave you, by the books that I gave you, and I shared you my experience already. Thanks again for watching. Bye.